Well, good morning, everybody. Um, Welcome to a special Saturday morning edition of Talkin Tigers. Um, well, uh, I'm gonna kind of just do this off the cuff. Uh, had a night, a little bit of a morning here to kind of reflect, digest, take in um, what went down last night at the Fortress at Obetz. Um, Obviously, not the outcome we were hoping for. Um, but first off, I just want to say, and I had this guy on my show this week, Coach Speck, his staff, his players, the community. Hats off to you guys. Congratulations on your fourth state championship. You guys were absolutely lights out, phenomenal last night. Um, you beat us in every aspect of the game, and so again, hats off to you guys. You were absolutely awesome last night. As far as the game goes, I coming into the game, kicking some things around, trying to gauge what the game was going to be like. I know we've played X in the past. Obviously, these are two different teams from when we last played in 2016, which was a classic down at Piqua. Last night was not a classic unless you were a Bombers fan. Um, you know, you could see if somebody told me X was going to win 28-21 or even 28-14, maybe they would stifle our offense a little bit. Um, if you told me the final was going to be 44-3, and even more so if you told me that it was going to be 30-0 after the first quarter and 44-3 at halftime, um, I could even take this further. If you told me that we were going to be a part of a championship game that had a running clock, I would be surprised, but I would think it was probably going to be us that was um, dictating the running clock and not the other way around. So when the shoe is on the other foot, we've had so many games this year where we've been on that side where the other team we put in the running clock position, and it kind of just gives you that feeling that those other teams feel every week when they go up against us. But you know, try not to be a prisoner of the moment. When things like this happens, it's never as good or it's never as bad as it may seem. Um, don't jump out of the boat on Pickerington Central Tiger football. This is still an unbelievable program. Um, Three state championship games in 4 years for this senior class. Winning two of those, five consecutive Final Four appearances. Let's be honest, guys. Like I said, don't be a prisoner of the moment. And we were just taken behind the woodshed last night, and it happens. And it was one of those nights that you kind of feel like you're in a nightmare that won't end. um, it snowballed, and it happens. It's high school sports, and the team on the other side of the field is a great program. Obviously, winning their four state championship. Coach Speck is one of the best in high school football, regardless of state. So you knew his team was going to be prepared. The coach speak and the ball coach speak of, we're pretty good too. That he mentioned this week. You don't show up in a state championship game having to go through the schedule that they do, the conference that they play in, and the teams that they had to beat to get to the title game without being very, very good. So, with all that being said, the game didn't it had that feeling. We got the ball first, and we always like to get on defense first and get things started. But we had the ball first. We ended up having to punt. Things didn't go well on that, and they tackled Wagner, set themselves up with really good field position to start the game. And I don't know, somewhere in the back of my mind, I was thinking, as a Denver Bronco fan, I remember playing the Seahawks in the Super Bowl, and early on, the center snapped the ball way over Manning's head, and I was like thinking to myself, kind of had that same feeling last night that things were just not going to go our way, and the defense stood tall. We had them in a 3rd and long, and their quarterback, Brogan Mackay, hit Jalen Patterson for would not be the last we heard of him for a touchdown there on a 3rd and long. And at that point it's 7-0. We've been down before. We were down in the title game last year on a couple of occasions, and we didn't flinch. So we get the ball back, and not we don't really get anything going again, and they take over. We do force a punt, and special teams for them was like every other aspect of the game was outstanding for them. They punted the ball. Maybe we should have come up and caught it to save some yardage, but that's neither here nor there. We get the ball, I think maybe at like the 2-yard line. They down it at the 2. Garner gets sacked in the end zone by Grant Lyons to make it 9-0. So at that point, they're dominating field position, especially with special teams. They had us scouted very well on our punt. They were able to get in there pretty quickly. That set up their first touchdown. They punt, put us inside the 2-yard line. They get the safety. It's 9-0. Grant Lyons, man, he was unbelievable last night. Just kind of looking at the stats, he had some huge plays for them. He had the safety. It seemed like his name was being called all night. He had 6 tackles, 3 sacks. Like I said, he was in on that safety. So it's 9-0. We're still obviously in the game, but from there things just we have a fumble. Things get worse. Jalen Patterson ends up with 4 touchdown receptions in the first quarter. Now, Patterson's a talented kid. He's not their number 1 receiver. Liam Clifford, who's going to Penn State, is, who was, relatively quiet last night. But Patterson has 4 touchdowns in the first quarter. That's obviously a state record. He had a 5th, but after review, there is review in the state finals game. It was found that he was down just before the end zone. Mackay would end up sneaking it in for another touchdown. But the incredible thing about that is Patterson, I think, maybe had 5 catches in their last 2 games. Last night he has 4 touchdowns in the first quarter. Could have had a 5th. Like I said, the review took away his 5th. He had 5 touchdown receptions in their prior 11 games. So that just kind of shows you, what night it is, what kind of night it was. You think about their quarterback, Brogan Mackay, a talented junior. He had 4 interceptions last week against a very good Springfield team. He had a touchdown and interception against Lakota West the week before that. So he's coming off a 4 interception game, and last night he throws 4 touchdowns in the first quarter. So that shows you, just kind of the difference from week to week, and give them all the credit. They really had a fantastic game plan offensively. Going with that hurry up really limited one of the strengths of our defense, which is our aggressive pass rush and be able to get after the quarterback. They completely took that away with the hurry up. we couldn't get set. We couldn't get set fast enough. They had guys running open. We were a little bit confused in the secondary of where because they were uh, coming with guys were lining up in all different places and directions, and you could tell that they had a great week of practice implementing this, and we just had a hard time responding to it, and they executed it perfectly. And before you know it, they run a punt back for a touchdown there, and it's 43 or 44-3 at half. We really just couldn't get anything going. You look at them offensively at 44 points, but we know as from a Pick Central standpoint, because we are very accustomed to doing this to a lot of teams that we play. When you're playing from the 50 in all night in the first half like they were, I mean, the game is so much easier. There's so many more things that you can do. You can be so much more aggressive. And then on the other end, we're playing on the other side. They're kicking the ball in the end zone. Their special teams coverage was outstanding. Styles did break free. And by the way, Lorenzo was great last night, as always. I thought he played his rear end off both sides of the ball. But I thought their special teams put us in bad positions all night where we had to drive the field. They really had us scouted well, and those GCL teams they're not going to beat themselves, and they are going to. If you have a weakness, they're going to find it on film, and they even take your strengths and use them against you, such as our pass rush and our aggressiveness defensively is one of our biggest strengths, and they used that against us last night with the hurry up. And so, like I said, it's 44-3 at halftime. But you can look at them and the points is one thing, but like I said, when you're playing from the 50 in, game's a little easier. But I thought more impressively was their defense. I mean, they just, you look at our stats. St. X had 18 first downs. We had 5. They had 355 total yards. We had 76. We're averaging, I don't know, somewhere around 40 points a night. Pass yards were 292 to 24. One of our bread and butter, Pick Central football, pound that rock, be physical up front, which is who we are. And last night, we had 27 carries for 52 yards. So they, defensively up front, they were phenomenal. We just could not get them off the ball last night. Nick Mosley, 5 carries for 2 yards. I mean, that's so out of the ordinary for him. And, they made it difficult on Garner all night long. Styles did run the ball pretty well when he got some opportunities. But it just wasn't there. When you get down like that, there's just, you're kind of in desperation mode, and the defense can be even more aggressive, and we know that. We've done that to so many teams ourselves. But like I said, this night doesn't define who Pick Central is. I've said this a couple times. Don't be a prisoner in the moment. Don't jump out of the boat. And this is still a team that was 11-1. This is a team that's won 2 out of the last 4 state championships, 5 Final Fours in a row. This senior class never lost a home game. There are programs that would kill for that type of success. So again, this night did not define who Coach Sherritt, Coach LaMonaco, Coach Doherty, Coach Ellis, Coach Bristol, Coach Styles, all these guys, Coach Takos, all these guys that have been with this program for so long. This is still a first-class program with great players, great talent, great coaching. This is not going to be the last you hear of this. This is not the destruction of Pick Central football. We will be back. You can believe that. So, moving forward, first, before we do that, let me just say thank you to the senior class, not only for what you've done for the program on the football field, but this is just a class group of individuals from the captains on down. So you're not only losing a great and talented athletic group of kids, you are losing a great group of just human beings, parents. Obviously have done a great job with these kids, and they just exemplify everything that's great about high school athletics and just high school students in general. So thank you, seniors, for an incredible ride. But looking forward, like I said, this is a very talented sophomore class. You got some top end juniors, and I hope I don't forget anybody. So if you're thinking offensively, we'll get back Kyle and Bowden, who is one of, if not our best offensive lineman, who we lost in game 2 of the year to a torn ACL. So he'll be back. Kobe Asamoah will be back on the offensive line. Egan will be back. He was only a sophomore. He'll be back on that. So there's 3 really good, pieces on the offensive line. I think Orlando Camara is going to be great in that backfield. You also have Dylan Bryan back there. Tyler Gillison will be back. Can play both sides of the ball. Kobe Gorman will be back. Can play both sides of the ball. You'll have Dakari Frazier back at defensive end, who I think is going to have a huge senior year. Reese Bransford is going to have another year to grow there at linebacker. Sonny Styles there on the back end. Defensively, at free safety, it remains to be seen if that's where he'll be next year. As far as defensively where he'll be, I'm sure we'll probably see him a little bit on the offensive side of the ball next year. Some other guys, trying to think off the cuff here. Chase Mantooth has got a lot of valuable time in several games this year. Hopefully, is going to get his opportunity to step in at quarterback next year. Isaiah Henderson has played a lot at receiver. Biles has been in there at receiver, another sophomore. So there's going to be some guys that really come to the forefront next year, I think, that are going to really step up. Obviously, we're losing the kicker and the punter, so somebody's going to have to step in and fill that void. But Pick Central is a program, so it's going to just continue to churn out. We're going to be right there in the mix come November next year. So really looking forward to what this new group of guys, this junior class is not a huge class, but there are some very talented kids in that class that have played a lot of football. Sophomore group is very deep. And we'll see what this freshman class has to offer next year as they get into the mix. So that puts a wrap on the season. 11-1, state runner-up. Couldn't be more proud to be a Pick Central Tiger, and Coach Sherritt. Staff, players, congratulations on another great year. And I guess I'm just going to keep looking up my watch when it's time to, be get back into the weight room, get things going, and get prepared for that 2021 season. We got some unfinished business to take care of. So again, seniors, thank you so much for just being just great people. And you will certainly be missed. So one final time, it's always a great day to be a Tiger. Go Tigers.